Okay, it is Tuesday, June 18th, approximately 4:02 p.m. Personnel Human Services will come to order. Roll call, please.
Ryder?
Here.
Lutz?
Here.
Krieger?
Yes.
Gitt?
Here.
Kuna?
Here.
Garrett?
Here.
Durancer?
Here.
Warren present.
Thank you. Minutes from May 21st of 19.
Motion approved. Support.
Moved, supported. All in favor signify by the usual sign.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, carried. Any public input at this time? Seeing no one from the public, we'll move on to petitions and communications. We have Mark Rankin here today, District 9 Director of MSU Extension for a 2018 annual report. Mark, we'll turn it over to you.
Good afternoon and thank you. I want to start out by saying I appreciate your guys' continued support for MSU Extension. I just celebrated my 1-year anniversary in this role, and it's been a learning experience. It's been a huge learning curve. I'm shocked at the number of programs that MSU Extension offers to counties and to residents, and it has been an honor to serve you and to serve your residents here in Bay County. I don't want to read this report to you because you guys can read the report, but I do want to draw your attention to some of the numbers on the left-hand side. This information was conducted by Anderson Economic Group. It can be found at myspartanimpact.msu.edu. And based on the report, MSU has had a $15 million economic impact here in Bay County. We spent $1.4 million with local businesses here in Bay County. And for every dollar we get from the county general funds, we're able to leverage those funds to bring in $5 to $10 for every dollar we receive. So I'm proud of some of the work that we're doing, and I'm still learning every day some of the programs that we have to offer. Most of you guys are very familiar with our 4-H program, but here in Bay County we are also blessed to have a Tech Wizards program, and we're able to do STEAM programs. Right now we're doing partnerships with the community center, also with the YMCA. We're doing day camps with Boys and Girls Club. We're also working with local schools, and the focus of that is really science, technology, engineering, and math, and we do a lot of spin clubs, which are special interest clubs as well. In addition to that, we have Jody Schultz who works here. She's a statewide educator, and she does safe training around the state. So she trains all our 4-H agents. She also works with all of our 4-H volunteers around the state and does an excellent job with that. We have SNAP Ed program, which is a USDA supplemental nutrition assistance program, and that is a federally funded program, and we provide programs, both series and one-time presentations throughout the county. In addition to that, we also have farm management. We have 5 different educators that come into Bay County, do programming throughout the year, and with the wet summer, I've been informed that we're also going to be doing some farm stress classes as well, because there's a lot of farmers that are in stress due to the weather and planting season. In addition to that, we have Sean Nurek, who does social and emotional programs here in Bay County. We had over 273 people participate in Stress Less with Mindfulness and also Relax Alternatives to Anger programs. We also have Kylie Romanowitz, who's an early childhood educator and comes in and does programs with daycare programs and Head Start programs in Bay County. And she's also doing a program July 10th with the importance of outdoor play and physical activity for students and healthy nutrition and living for students as well. In addition to that, we have a Sea Grant agent who started in March. She's been doing a lot with the Bay Restoration Project. She also did the Bay Sturgeon reintroduction effort, also doing a lot of stuff with invasive species and also healthy waterways for the Saginaw Bay area. And I've been able to go and witness some of these programs that our educators do, and we get really strong response. So a lot of times we do evaluations with the series that we provide and also the programs we provide, and they're really, really well received by the community members. So once again, I appreciate your support for MSU Extension. I'm excited about some of the programs we're offering, and I'm always looking for more partnerships and more opportunities for programs based on the needs of your community and your residents. So thank you very much for the opportunity to share some of the things that we did last year.
Thank you, Mark. Motion received. Support. Been moved, supported. All those in favor signify by the usual sign. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Carried. Under B, Information Assistant Director, updating this. I guess this is going to be brought up at a later date, so we'll move on to C. From the Personnel Director, vacancies. 911 Central Dispatch, 3 full-time, and been moved. Is there support?
Support.
Been moved and supported. Commissioner Krieger?
Chris, back a while when we talked about developing a pool of individuals that we try to pull from.
Yes.
So as things would pop up, we'd have some backup. Do we have any success with that? Do we have that pool?
We do have a pool. We're continuing to add to the pool. As a matter of fact, one of the vacancies we already have ready to go once it's approved. So yeah, we've continued to build out that pool. Right now I can tell you our staffing level is, we have 20 individuals and 23 is fully staffed. And even at 20, the level of 20 is still sufficiently higher than we have been in years past. So even though we're down 3 relative to staffing in prior years, we're still in really good shape, especially in the summer. This is probably one of the very few times we've gone into the summer with 5 individuals on each one of the 4 teams. So even though we're low, we're still in good shape.
And recruiting for these kind of positions, how's that been?
Recruiting has been good. We had put it out on Indeed, and we had 178 applicants, and we're testing some of those folks right now. Of the 178, we winnowed that number down, of course, and we're testing about 100 applicants, and we'll probably get 10 or 12 folks that will pass critical, and then from that pool, hopefully find some good candidates.
Any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor, signify by raising your sign. Aye. Opposed, same sign, carried. From the Department on Aging, we have a part-time driver and a part-time in-home care worker. What is your pleasure?
Support.
Been moved, supported. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, signify by the usual sign. Aye. Opposed, same sign, carried. From the Financial Analyst, a split court allows retiree health care changes.
Support.
Been moved, supported, discussion. Kim?
Yeah, I'm reading that, is that policy gone into effect yet? Or can we maybe get an opinion from Amber or somebody? If not now, at the full board, how about that?
I can do that for you.
Okay, thanks.
Been moved, supported, received. All in favor, signify by the usual sign.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, carried. From the health officer, under 1, temporary agreement with Dr. Kanu, Virani. What is your pleasure?
So, support.
And moved and supported. Commissioner Lutz.
Yeah, we went over the RFP.
We did. The board authorized an RFP back in February, I believe. And that's been issued. We're actually meeting tomorrow morning on the medical examiner and medical director. We have one submission for the forensic pathologist that was also submitted for medical examiner as well. So we'll also be discussing that tomorrow at our meeting. Why this is on the docket today is that Dr. Virani had indicated that he's not going to do any more autopsies until he receives increased compensation. So it very well could be that we come back in a short period of time, within a month or 2, to talk about a new contract, or it might be as well that we have to extend the deadline or see what some other alternatives are, depending on how tomorrow's conversation falls out.
Commissioner Kanu.
Joel, does he do all the autopsies for the county or?
Virtually, yes.
Does the hospital still have pathologists that do autopsies as well?
They do not have a forensic pathologist. They have medical pathologists that would normally take a look at like how cancer is spread and disease is spread, but the forensic pathologist has special training for accidents and injuries and criminal activities and things like that. There's actually a pretty severe shortage of forensic pathologists in the United States Dr. Virani does the autopsies or the forensic pathology services, not only for Bay, but for Saginaw, Midland, Huron, Tuscola, Aranac. I also believe he does them for Genesee County as well. But in addition to that, he's also the forensic pathologist down in Oakland for the time being.
Well, how many does he do a year up here?
For us here in Bay County, there's been times when he's done over 100. It really depends on, the average is about 75. Now, a couple of years ago when we had the spike in overdose deaths, I believe that went to about 110. He does from time to time have his assistants cover, and we have utilized the services of his assistants as well.
So what we compensate him at, how does that compare to the industry standard?
So what he is compensated currently at his old contract rate is very far below the industry standard. So this actually brings him up in line with what his new contracts are with around the counties here. But even then, I would say that it's still below, to some extent, what other counties are paying throughout the state of Michigan. Down in southwestern Michigan, Western Michigan University, in their forensic pathology department, has contracts with multiple counties down there, and it is not too unusual to see autopsies done at a much higher rate. A good example, too, of that would be in Grand Traverse County, which is actually a lower population than Bay County. They spent over $500,000 on autopsy services. They have a much healthier population, and so I would assume that they are paying much more than what Dr. Virani is currently offering in the interim.
An average of 75 here in Bay County, he's got all this other area, he can't be doing them all, he must have somebody.
He does several a day, and
Does he do them all?
pretty much, yes. There are times when he has his assistants, like Dr. Cho has done on average about 5 to 10 per year for Bay County. But, he takes vacations and he has time off and everything. In Oakland County, where he's stationed, he has deputies down there that will normally take care of these things.
Commissioner Lutz.
So, one follow-up question here. So, being that you only have one applicant, this is kind of a small group that you're pulling from. So,
While I would like to speak candidly about the RFP, I can't because the procurement rules and the purchasing rules prohibit me from doing so. But at a later date, when the dust is settled and we come to a final decision, I'll be more than happy to speak more to that.
Any further discussion? Commissioner Begic.
Last year at the National Association of Counties, we had a pathologist speak to us and about the extreme shortage, the opioid overdoses, all that has really strained the system, and they're trying to make some changes to it, or expedite it, or maybe not do as many, or make some changes so that it will work a little bit better. That's really been a struggle for a lot of counties, especially rural areas, to get somebody in to do the opioid overdoses, things like that.
It's much worse in the eastern part of the United States. We shared a article with some of the administration about in certain counties, like I believe it's in New York, where they actually have to fly pathologists in to do autopsies.
Commissioner Herrick.
Joe, I know Dr. Virani just from my previous employment. And I used to sit all the way from Pontiac, basically it was the bridge at one time.
At one time, yes.
Yeah, I think he's a pretty good, he's a good pathologist, and we've got a pretty good deal with him anyways, like you said, at a lower rate. But what is it that, besides what an autopsy would be performed, is there criteria?
There is.
Everybody would die, so.
It's not private autopsies either. So private autopsies too, like let's say that you had a family member that died and it was determined that they died of natural circumstances, and you were like, well, what did they die of? And then that's where the medical pathologist at the hospital would come into place. But autopsies done by the medical examiner's office are anything that's done of a mysterious or mysterious nature, an unexpected death without illness or injury, a murder or homicide, apparent murder or homicide, I should say, and any kind of accident as well. There's also been quite a bit of debate on whether that, also too, is that most suicides are autopsied, but there's quite a bit of debate about when we're doing autopsies for suicides, whether we should be doing toxicologies, especially in this day and age when so many people are addicted to drugs. So, because it's reasoned that their addiction factors into the suicide decision.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, signify by the usual
I
sign.
think the county executive has comment.
Yeah, I wanted to, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Joel, could you, thank you very much for working through this issue we had. Just for the board's knowledge too, Dr. Virani's, I believe, reimbursement per autopsy it's the same today as it was in the year 2000. So it's probably overdue for
2006.
an adjustment.
Yep.
2006, last, yeah. Joel, I know it's not on the agenda, but could you share with the board and myself what you learned regarding your presence at the lead pipe issue in Hampton Township last night? I was unable to attend myself from 4 to 6. I had a conflict, but you did a great job on
Thank you.
TV5. And could you maybe just update us? Because I'm sure it's not going to be limited to Hampton Township in Bay County. I think the city will have an issue and possibly some other units of government. But could you just share your insight on what happened last night and what the reaction from the public was relative
Sure.
to the news?
As you all know, or you may not know, Hampton Township, in addition to all the other municipalities within the county, submitted samples to the department, or used to be the MDEQ, now Eagle, on the lead and copper rule. It's a part of annual requirement every year. So they take samples from various residences where it's either randomly sampled or that is known that they have a potential problem with lead or copper. Hampton Township chose to sample all of their lead and copper sites. I think there was 23 in total, but 40 samples were submitted. Of those 40 samples, 8 came back that were positive for lead, but of those 8, they were strong enough that it moved them into the 90th percentile. So they were legally bound to notify their local residents. So they were very proactive. They worked with DEQ and Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, Eagle, and the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, and the Health Department and the surrounding municipalities to notify all of the residents in Hampton Township about just exactly what happened and what they're going to be doing in the future. They're going to be actually taking a look and trying to determine if there are more lead service lines that extend to residences. Now, just as an aside, lead service lines were pretty common up until about the 1950s, and that's when they stopped doing them. They pretty much went either to copper or other ways to service the line. In most cases, the service lines have been replaced over time, but there are still a number of them out there. Now, in the past, they would replace the lead service line up to the sidewalk, and then anything from the sidewalk on would be the homeowner's responsibility. At least that's the way it was in Bay City. Now, in Hampton Township, with this, basically, they're still trying to discern if there are still a number of lead service lines. So they had a meeting with the general public. It wasn't set up like a town hall. It was actually set up with specific tables, and every department that was represented had presence at a table, and folks could sign in to have the township go and check their property to see if they do have a lead service line, so it can be replaced. But the nice thing about having the individual tables, I was kind of scratching my head at first, but this was actually very good for everyone because it allowed every resident that came in to have a one-on-one conversation with the folks from either Hampton Township, the Health Department, the County Water Department, and then the Municipal Water Authority, and also the Hampton Township government. It was very well attended. There was a big rush of people about 4 o'clock. We were able to talk to everyone. Joel Kukowski, the environmental health manager, was there. He did a tremendous job of discussing the sampling process, what people's options were. We reassured a fair amount of folks, that, especially that had homes built within the 1970s and onward, that their risk was minimal, but they could still get their water tested if necessary. We talked at great length about different strategies that people could do to minimize their risk if it was a known or an unknown source of contamination. They talked at great length to the township about what their different options were as well. And so this is going to be an ongoing issue within Hampton Township. Now I know that you have to understand too is that every municipality in this county submitted samples at the same time. So at this time it was Hampton Township that came up high. I know in the city of Bay City there are far number more known lead service lines that are being replaced, and now they're replacing them to the home as well. In fact, I've talked to the city about this in the months past. The other thing that we're doing as far as education and outreach is not only are we fielding calls and giving out sampling bottles, we also explain that there might be some expense to the homeowner in getting their water sampled if they don't qualify under the township's redistribution policy. But also, we're also doing some outreach and education to the general public about different strategies that they should know about to minimize their risk from lead. There was a lot of people that had a lot of very, very good questions. A lot of people were very scared. They thought things were going to turn into like a Flint type of situation. And that certainly is not the case. It's two completely different circumstances. In Flint, you had water being drawn as a source from the Flint River that was naturally corrosive. They didn't place any additives in the water that would naturally protect the pipes, and as a result, the corrosion in there from that water helped leach the lead out from the service pipes and in some of their other things. The other thing that is also different from us and from Flint is that we do a very, very good job here in Bay County of screening young children for lead. And it's estimated that with our Medicaid children, we screen about 80 to 90% every year for lead that are eligible for screening purposes. As soon as they're screened, if they come up with higher numbers, we reach out to the parents, try to educate, do some outreach, do a referral to medical providers for that. And then if it's necessary, if it's high enough for a long sustained time, we'll actually work with the family and the state to do an investigation within the home, and in some cases the daycares or other places where the child might exist. So we're much more on top of it than Flint was at the time, or Genesee County was at the time. But with that being said, it's a problem with infrastructure, and it's something that we're going to have to deal with for a long sustained period of time.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, signify by raising your sign. Aye. Opposed, same sign, carried. Amendment number 4 to the comprehensive planning, budgeting, and contracting agreement. What is your pleasure?
Support.
Been moved, supported, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, signify by the usual sign. Aye. Opposed, same sign, carried. Affiliation agreement with Ferris State University. What is your pleasure?
So moved. Support.
Been moved, supported, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, signify by the usual sign. Aye. Opposed, same sign, carried. Grant sub-award agreement with Amalgam LLC. What is your pleasure? And moved and supported. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by the usual sign. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Carried. Agreement with Mary Kushion Consulting LLC. What is your pleasure?
So, support.
Then moved, supported. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by the usual sign. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carried. Acceptance of local public health strategic planning grant funding. What is your pleasure?
So, support.
And move supported. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by the usual sign. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carried. No referrals. Unfinished business. Any new business? Miscellaneous? Announcements? Commissioner Krieger.
Thank you. Just a reminder, June 29th, each one, our 5 and 10K run, 5K walk. Even the kids run. Starts at 9 o'clock, Saturday morning, the 29th. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Herrick.
Hey, down in South Bend, I mean, Big Water Tower and Polish Festival starting on the 27th up there. 3-mile run, and finishing off, you know, they got Kids Day on Saturday, and Sunday they have, if anybody likes to go to Mass at 11 o'clock, they have Mass followed by chicken dinner, and then something to wash it down after that. And on all 4 nights, the vocal bands will be revving up down there, so come on and see it.
Yeah. Commissioner Beget.
Auburn Corn Fest, July 11th through the 14th, the parade is the 14th at 1 o'clock.
Any other announcements?
Move to adjourn.
It's been moved and supported. All in favor signify by the usual sign. Aye. Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned.